Well, I'm back, and I'm at a wider angle today because I have something a little bigger than usual. I have, and I thought I'd just show this off, The Boys' Book of Model Making, edited by Seaton Abbey. This is a gift to myself for my birthday. It's something I saw, it used to be in our library when I was a kid in the 70s. Yes, I'm that old. And I remember getting this out, and I was always a memory to me as to what... these books disappear from the library. So I always thought, well, that's a cool book.
Sorry about that. My brain shorted out. What I was trying to say was that I really liked this book and it made an impression on me. And now, with online booksellers, I got myself a copy. And now back to my regularly scheduled ramblings.
Really good shape. It's a little bit used, but not much. Cover's okay. So I thought, well, let's take a look at it. Now I also made some marks here, so I don't wander around too much here. Nice hardcover with some nice designs on it. I'm going to get some that plastic that goes over the books at libraries. So open up. Here's my receipt. Yes. Anyways, so let's go through this real quick. Look at that. Typical boy from 1958 with his what looks like a V1 rocket bomb. But we have 72 photographs and 150 diagrams and plan. Very nice. So let's go through here. We have our contents, model maker's workshop, materials, building and operating a model railway, model ships and power boats, traction engines. That was a big thing at one time. Model speedboats, model aircraft. So everything's in here kind of thing. Wait, what's your one about a... We'll get to that later. Okay, so photographs. Going to that a little later, like building up an electric drill kit. That's interesting. Model speed jet. That's what that was. Model speed jet. Okay, let's just go through this real quick. I have to go to work. It's over here. All right. So the first section, of course, is you want to make a workshop, and it gives you tips on that. It has your typical images of what you need, like saws, clamps, a little workbench, linoleum for assembly of delicate work. That's kind of an interesting idea. Fretwork cutting table. Okay, this is quite complicated. There's a folding ruler right there. Pencil. Got a pencil. Bunch of stuff here. Tenon saw. I've got one of those. So let's move on. Get more clamps and tools and things. I don't have some of this stuff. Look at these wonderful old, must have been super heavy tools. A lathe can be converted into a circular saw and provide with an adjustable table. What is this? A whole range of workshop equipment can be built up from an electric drill. There. This looks like a kit, though, because of the way this is designed. We'll go on. We have a kit for a train locomotive. We'll go through here. More stuff like this. Okay, so we have materials for model making. Paper mache models. Choices of wood. A variety of ship illustrations. And go through more. Oh yeah, materials for model making. Cement and glue, any model shop, Bassett and Loke, bonds and hobbies. Bunch of bonds, Bassett and Loke. Electronic development, railways, very old stuff. I think this must have been a built of a magazine or something like that. So going from here. Oh, this is the best one. Building a simple lathe from oddments. Here's an oddment. Now, I would be a person who might go with the, well, maybe I could do something with a drill to make it kind of lathe-like, or do some sort of lathe function, but I don't know if I want to build a lathe, but hey, if you can do it, this is what apparently kids or teenagers did in the 50s. And then we have just this random picture of a steam engine for a boat and semaphore signals. Oh, here we go. There's a lathe. That's really interesting. I wonder if you could make it work. So it has a drive pulley from the drill truck. So what's driving it? Oh, there's your pulley. So you just gotta get the motor. That's simple. Okay, what's next? Building operating a model railway for model makers. That makes sense. Getting a little layout design, which is kind of cool. Goes to the steps. And this is interesting. So we have three rail system and two rail. Just little ideas. There we go. And there's some photographs of the final product. And that's very nice, actually. something in my kid I would imagine having. Okay. Again, that picture of it. Semaphore signals. Electric railway construction. Yeah, more complicated, more technical. I like the pickup for the third rail, or actually studs. It's from the 50s. Model buildings. This is interesting. I'll go through this. So yeah, I'm going to come back to this one for a sec. I'll come back to here. And we're going to move on. Now here's one. Building a locomotive body. Probably one of the most difficult tasks one meets in building of a model locomotive body is not met with the actual building at all, but in the choice of prototype. Well, that makes sense. I would make a diesel because it's a box. First, the engine must belong to the railway group being followed by the builder. Okay. Secondly, it must not, as a first attempt, be too difficult or involved in construction. Thirdly, when made, it should be of such wheel arrangement as to find ready use on the maker's layout. That does make sense. Hence, we're going to be building an N2 a 062T. So, cutting sheet metal. This is really interesting. I guess they provide a diagram in here. Kind of, yes. There we are. The main bed plate of an N2. Yeah, okay. Okay, there's your, okay, that's just, okay, makes sense. Go here, your bunker, side tanks. Oh my god. Making a piece of metal. Yeah. Now we get pictures of a layout, and then here we have the N2. Yeah, this is a lot of sanding of bits of metal. It's wonderful to work in an era of 3D printing or buying anything you want. Measured diagram. I think this would give you a pretty interesting locomotive. So then we get to model traction engines and steam tractors, which I think are really cool, really outside my league, and I love seeing the real thing. Oh, now this is the gorgeous part. Check out this, making a hole. This is one of the two fold-outs, and it is in great shape. Check that out. Wait, yeah. It just gets crazier. Hold on, that one. I'm really, this is what? Nearly 7 years old. There we go. Check that out. There, now that's a measured diagram. Just take a photograph of that and work from that. That is really cool. Anyways, close this one. There we go. Okay, that didn't work. There we go. And then move on. Model cars. Yada, yada, yada. That's nice looking. Wood. A little engine. Can you still get those? I don't know. Glow plug engine. It's like just general model boats. There we go. These wonderful adult-made model boats. There, and that's kind of nice. Oh, and now here's the other diagram. Look at this. Another one. A cabin cruiser. I'd like to have one of these in real size. Then I also like a cottage that could have a boathouse. Check that out. Yeah, I can't go any wider because I'm pretty much wide as it is right now. But yeah, you're gonna get your nice diagram of the profile, top view, front elevation, and just sort of a general idea of the construction technique. Oh, and the table of offsets. That's interesting. Anyways, that's pretty cool, and so in great shape. Hold on. Much swearing occurred. Hold on. There we go. It's actually a bigger diagram than the traction engine. So we have offset lines. Again, this is the, what do they call it? I just call it the stack system. Layers of wood. Anyways. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Going along here, photographs of models. Give you inspiration. Oh, different models you can build. Model speedboats, of course. Moving along. That's kind of cool. Okay. Lots of model. I remember as a kid, they still have books like this that really concentrate on this kind of model. I guess it's really kind of pre-remote control. And you just have like lines or just shoot it across the pond. Period ship models by Lieutenant Commander J.H. Crane. I like that idea. Oh, that's cool. Check that out. A ship and a light bulb. There you go. I don't know. These... I get the... Well, they must be made out of scratch, but these look so nice. And we don't have a pond like that anywhere near where I am. Oh, no, this is kind of... I marked this because I think it's kind of cool. I like cogs, and this is a cog. And I think it's kind of neat. And I've always wanted to do one. So this is why it's marked. I have some other ideas about cogs too, which are crazy. And we'll go over here. There's the final picture of the cog. Like that. Model yachts. Again, all these layered for carving out the hulls. Oh, how to make your keel wait. That's pretty funny. And there it is for the, I guess that's probably the, for the centerboard. Or the keel, actually. In this case, it's keel. There you are. Jesus, that's big. He's also wearing a beret. Let's see. What else we got? I hope I'm not going off the top here. How to sail. This is something I need to do in real life. Model aircraft. That's kind of cool. Yeah, this is kind of typical stuff. But yeah, it's everything's in here if you really want to go for it. There you go. There's your a jet-controlled line model that reaches 140 miles per hour. Yeah. I live in Toronto. That would go over big because we've banned kite flying in this city. I go down to the park, go down to High Park, put that in the pond. You'd be arrested so fast. Yeah, stuff. A little needle valve for fuel control. Okay. Variety of things. This is kind of like outside my... I really got to learn internal combustion engines. I've always wanted to. It's just like I never had time. And I'd love to be able to repair my own lawnmower. But the one at the cottage is the one that really like needs help all the time. Yeah, more stuff. That's kind of cool. The steam engine. It's kind of weird that we're talking about this now. Feeling the valves. This is all principles. This is always the usual same stuff. Move forward. I guess it's just the idea of steam engine right now. But you can... Okay. So I guess they want you to make your own. Now that you've gone through the whole thing with your setup with your layout, with your tools, and then practice with like drilling holes, like the thing with the steam traction engine or the N2 locomotive. I guess they figure at this point you have the skills to get into this part, where you're building an actual steam engine. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Now we're getting to the safety valves. That's a bit. Now this is a project I'm going to do. Making a small dynamo and electric motor. I want to make an electric motor just to see if I can make an electric motor. I think I have a plan somewhere for one. From something. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, basic stuff. A 3-pole. Nice. Oh, and what little boy doesn't want to do this? Have a model theater. There you go. Actually, it's kind of cool. That'd be actually good to have a theater, and you have your e-meetings, your online Teams meetings, and you have yourself on this stage. That'd be great. Which I have after I do this video. Yeah, there you go. I love the fact it's ferries, which is really bizarre. And then we have motor cars. Yeah, and steam engines just to wash yourself of that. And then again, a village with a train going through it. And then we go back to the lighting. Lighting is kind of cool. Model pumping windmill for the garden? I never noticed these before. Cool. I want to build a windmill or a lighthouse for the cottage, so people don't drive, to mark where the wellhead is, so people don't drive into it or decide to mow it with the lawnmower. Photography and lighting. Photographing models, well, of course, the ability model, and that's it for the book. It's really very cool. I know this is just a really quick once-over, but man, model engineer. It is a blast from the past. Now, I'm going to show you something. Go back a bit here. Okay. Model buildings. Now, being a child with no talent, this is the easiest one to do. Plus, also had cardboard. So when I was way back, whenever this was, I wanted to build a house, or a cottage rather, cottage in the English sense, for my trains, and I use this as the pattern. And the result is, I call this the Mark 1. So here it is. I had some Bristol board, which I then painted brick on, and doors, and black Bristol board for the ceiling, the roof, and then some balsa wood for the chimneys. And then I used some cellophane, or some sort of cellophane or something, for the window glazing, and then tried painting on window frames and things. So there you have it. That's my first attempt at a house. And in fact, I didn't think this still existed. When I was done with trains, I threw everything in a box, kind of thing. And then after my parents died, my father died, we went through stuff, and I said, I'm just gonna keep this box and put it in storage. So yeah. So did I mention the ivy? Look at that. With just some flock. But yeah, it's the first try, so we'll just put this over here for a beauty shot. And the Mark II-B, we'll talk about the Mark II-A in a second. So this is an expanded version of it. Still Bristol board, a little more detailed. Okay, the chimney's too short and a bad paint job. But I put strips up for the roof. I did, it's much simpler. This actually was, because it's the B, so it's just meant for background. So we have a little door here and a little door here. I think it's more of a workshop than anything else. Now here, if you note, the upper story goes out like that, and that's because this is based on the Mark II-A, which is a little pub I made. Going back to here for a sec. Using the same dimensions for the base as this one, so the lower story, the ground floor. But what that ground floor was made with brick paper. And then I had these bits of balsa wood, like what 1/8 balsa wood was painted black to come out as beams. And then the upper story was actually a half timber, in a very half-assed way. But it was made of balsa wood, and then I filled in the gaps with plaster of Paris. And I forget what I used for the roof. The roof was probably like this. So that was that one. But that was kind of complicated, and also it fell apart. So the roof, the upper portion is in great shape. The bottom portion is pretty bad. That's why it's not here. It could be restored, maybe. But there you go. We'll just put this over here. At the front, that's the front. That. And then finally we have the Mark III, which I made a few years later. Slightly more sophisticated. And much better. Kind of. It's in bad shape. So like you see, the windows are, as you can see, I used a plastic brick sheet. This is not the best. It's supposed to be whitewash. I only had white paint. I don't know what went on here. But yeah, so I actually cut out the windows, window frames, and the windows themselves in harder plastic, and then put on the little bits and pieces that go in there. And of course, the door, again, you see the door has inset panels. It is kind of warped, as you can see, because it's wood. And in kind of bad shape. This is splitting off here. The chimney caps are gone. Brick paper again. I was inspired to make it thatched, although this is not how you do a thatched roof, by reading about the Pendon Museum and what they had done. And I was so impressed with that. I went outside and got some grass clippings and glued them to the top of this. Now the Pendon guys actually tie it up into these proper materials and tied it into little bundles, just like a thatched roof. Me, I wasn't going to do that. But still, I think it's kind of fun and worthy restoration? I don't know. Maybe. So let's take a look over here. So there we go. So those are the houses of the boys' book of model making. It's a real blast from the past, and I think still inspirational for today. Certainly there's some stuff in there going, that's kind of cool, basic stuff. But yeah, it's kind of neat, and I encourage people to, if you can find one, take a look at it.
Hey, look what I found. The Mark II-A, the pub. It's a little worse for wear, but I still like it. So that's it for today. I'll have something new up soon. So please like this video and subscribe. And thanks again, and have a great day. And we'll see you soon, I hope.